Yeah, warm welcome to all of you. This presentation is mainly for second MSc students of our college. This topic, fugacity and activity, these two topics are present in Physical Chemistry 2 syllabus of Baridasan University. As this presentation is based on syllabus, I want to read the Baridasan University syllabus regarding this topic. Thermodynamic properties of real gases, fugacity concept, calculation of fugacity of real gas, activity and activity coefficient, concept, definition, standard states and experimental determination of activity and activity coefficient of electrolytes. Now, thermodynamic properties of real gases, that is the fugacity and activity, these two topics are under thermodynamic properties of real gases. Now, what is meant by fugacity and activity? Now, these two terms are introduced by scientist Jean Louis, and fugacity and activity, these are the terms to express the actual behavior of real gas as distinct from the postulated behavior of ideal gas. That is, these terms are used to express a deviation of real gas from ideal behavior. For infinitesimal change, small change of an isothermal reversible process, the change in free energy that is given by an equation that is from thermodynamics, that is dF is equal to VdP minus SdT. Here dF a small change in free energy, and dP and dt, these are small change in pressure and temperature. Now at constant temperature, that is for isothermal process, temperature is constant, so dt is equal to 0. Therefore, this equation equation becomes dF is equal to dF is equal to bdP. Now on considering 1 mole of an ideal gas, this equation becomes dF is equal to RT by P and numerator dP. That is, the volume is changed by RT by P. That is from ideal gas equation. For 1 mole, PV is equal to RT. That is, V is equal to RT by P. So by changing the volume as RT by B, we get this equation. dF is equal to RT by P dP. Here, dF, a small change in free energy, and R gas constant, T temperature, P pressure, dP, a small change in pressure. And here, this equation can be written as dF is equal to RT dl and P. That is, dP by P can be written as dl and P. Now let this equation be 1. Now this equation is purely for ideal gas. Now we can use this equation for calculation of dF for real gas. So that is by changing this equation as dF is equal to RT dln of, where F is the fugacity. Now this equation is for a real gas. Now upon integration between two states, initial and the final state, and this equation number 2 becomes F2 minus F1, that is equal to RT ln small f2 by small f1. That means capital F are the free energies and small f are the fugacities. F1, that is small f1, F2, small f2 are the fugacities of initial and final state. That is two states. Now let this equation be 3. Now on integration of equation 1, which is for ideal gas, that equation becomes on integration between two states, F2 minus F1 is equal to RT ln P2 by P1. Here P is the pressure, P1, P2 are the pressures at two states, initial and final states. From equation 3 and 4, F is proportional to pressure. That is, fugacity is proportional to pressure. So for an ideal gas, F is equal to P. But for real gas, limit P tends to 0, F is equal to P. That means all gases behave ideally at low pressure. So at low pressure, F is equal to P. In general, limit P tends to 0. Fugacity is equal to pressure. In other words, limit P tends to 0, F by P fugacity ratio of fugacity to pressure, that is equal to 1. So that is the term fugacity. So fugacity is proportional to pressure, and fugacity is equal to pressure for ideal gas, and for real gas uh, fugacity is proportional to pressure, that is P. Limit P turns to 0, F is equal to P. Next, evaluation of fugacity. We know the equations. dF is equal to RT dln F. And another equation, dF is equal to B dP. These are the equations we have already seen in the previous slides. Now, one is dF is equal to RT dln F. Small f, that is fugacity. Another equation, dF is equal to V dP. dP is small change in pressure. Now, equating these two equations, that is RT dln F is equal to V dP. Here, V is the volume of real gas. V is the volume of real gas. If alpha represents the deviation of volume from ideal behavior, then alpha is equal to, that is alpha is equal to ideal gas volume minus real gas volume. So ideal gas volume minus real gas volume. We know the volume equation for ideal gas, that is RT by P. Therefore alpha is equal to RT by P minus volume of real gas. That is simply RT by P minus V. Therefore V is equal to RT by P minus alpha by changing minus V from right hand side to left hand side, and plus alpha from left hand side to right hand side. We get the equation 4. That equation is V is equal to RT by P minus alpha. Here V is the volume of real gas, RT by P, that is the volume of ideal gas, and alpha, that is the term, that is deviation of volume of real gas from ideal behavior, that is alpha. Therefore V is equal to RT by P minus alpha, and this equation is 4. On substituting real gas volume in the above equation is RT dln of V dP. So on substituting volume of real gas as RT by P minus alpha in the above equation, we get RT dln of that is equal to RT by P minus alpha bracket dP. So on changing the equation by taking brackets on the right hand side, we get RT by P dP minus alpha dP. And dividing this equation by RT, left hand side and right hand side, we get dln of is equal to dln P minus alpha by RT dP. That is dP by P becomes dln P. So for left hand side, RT is cancelled, and right hand side, first term RT is cancelled and second term is divided by RT. Okay. So dln f is equal to dln P minus alpha by RT dP. That is otherwise written as dln F by P is equal to minus alpha by RT dP. So now on integrating this equation between limits 0 to P, and left hand side is ln F by P, and the lower limit ln F by P is equal to 0, that is at zero pressure. Therefore only one term is present in the left hand side, that is ln F by P, that is equal to minus integral 0 to P limits, lower limit 0, upper limit pressure P, integral alpha by RT dP. So that can be written as ln F is equal to ln P minus integral 0 to P alpha by RT dP. Let this equation be 5. Now the value of the integral is determined by graphical method by plotting alpha by RT versus pressure. Okay, so the value of the integral is determined by the graphical method, that is by plotting alpha by RT against pressure. Now alpha, what is alpha? We have already discussed alpha, that is the deviation of real gas volume from ideal behavior, that is alpha is equal to RT by P minus actual volume. Okay, the right answer, first term is ideal gas volume, second term that is volume of real gas, that is actual volume. So on plotting alpha by RT against pressure, we get a curve. The curve is shown in the next slide, and the area under the curve gives the value of the integral, and substituting the value of the integral in the above equation number 5, at a given pressure we can calculate the value of fugacity. That is the experimental determination of fugacity. That is ln f is equal to ln p minus integral 0 to p alpha by RT dp, and the value of the integral is determined by plotting alpha by RT versus pressure, and substituting we get a, and substitute the area under the curve, that is the value of the integral, and by substituting the value in the above equation we get the value of fugacity at a given pressure. This slide shows the nature of graph obtained between alpha by RT and pressure, and the area under the curve gives the value of the integral, and by substituting the value of integral at a given pressure we can calculate the value of fugacity. Next topic, activity and activity coefficient. Activity, this term was introduced by scientist Jean Louis. This term is used to express the deviation of real gas from ideal behavior. For an ideal gas, activity is numerically equal to its pressure, that is A is equal to pressure. But for real gas, the activity is only proportional to pressure, that is A is proportional to pressure, that is equal to gamma into P, where gamma is activity coefficient. In the case of electrolytes, activity and molar concentration are not the same due to interionic attractions between ions, which brings about the large deviation from ideal behavior. In the case of an ideal solution, mu x, that is chemical potential in terms of mole fraction, that is equal to mu 0 x plus RT ln x. Here mu 0 x, that is the standard chemical potential in terms of mole fraction or gas constant T temperature, and x is the mole fraction for ideal solution. But for non-ideal solution, mu x is equal to mu 0 x plus RT ln gamma x into x, where gamma x is the activity coefficient in terms of x, that is gamma x, activity coefficient. Now gamma x into x is equal to ax, where ax is the activity in terms of x. When gamma x is equal to 1, then ax is equal to x, that is activity is equal to mole fraction. If gamma x is equal to 1, the gamma is the activity coefficient. If the value of activity coefficient is equal to 1, then activity is equal to mole fraction. Next topic, standard states for activity. Now pure liquid is taken as the standard state. When the solution is very dilute, the mole fraction x1 is equal to 1, because the solution is more dilute, very dilute, that means it has a very low amount of solute, and mole fraction of solvent is close to 1, that is gamma 1, that is equal to 1, gamma, that is activity coefficient of solvent, that is equal to 1. In the case of pure liquid or dilute solution, the mu equation is given by mu is equal to mu 0 x plus RT ln x. In terms of concentration, we can write mu is equal to mu 0 c plus RT ln c. And in terms of molality, mu is equal to mu 0 m plus RT ln m. That is, here all are chemical potential, and mu 0 values are standard chemical potential, and x is a mole fraction, symbol for mole fraction, and c is a symbol for concentration, and m is a symbol for molality. But for solution of an appreciable concentration, these equations become mu is equal to mu 0 x plus RT ln gamma x into x, and mu is equal to mu 0 c plus RT ln gamma c c, and mu is equal to mu 0 m plus RT ln gamma m m. Here gamma x, gamma c, gamma m all are activity coefficients. Gamma x means activity coefficient in terms of mole fraction. Gamma c means activity coefficient in concentration, and gamma m means activity coefficient in molality. Now the activity is related to activity coefficient by the formula A is equal to gamma into x in the case of mole fraction, and A is equal to gamma c into c, and A is equal to gamma m into m. Now Ax, Ac, Am, these are activities in terms of mole fraction, concentration, molality. Now at infinite dilution, Ax is equal to x, Ac is equal to c, Am is equal to m. In all these cases, gamma value is equal to 1. When gamma is equal to 1, then that state is called as standard state. That state is called as standard state. At any other dilution, Ax is equal to gamma x into x, Ac is equal to gamma c into c, Am is equal to gamma m into m. Here gammas are activity coefficients in terms of x, in terms of c, in terms of m. In general, mu is equal to mu 0 plus RT ln A. A is the activity, and that is equal to gamma x into x, or gamma c into c, or gamma m into m. Next topic, determination of activity. There are number of methods to determine activity. One method is cryoscopic method. Here in this method, at the freezing point of solvent solution, there is an equation d ln P1 by P2 divided by dt, that is equal to delta HF divided by RT square. This equation is one form of Clausius Clapeyron equation. Here P1, that is vapor pressure of solution, and P2 vapor pressure of pure solvent, and delta HF molar latent heat of fusion. Now we can apply this equation for non-ideal solution as d ln F1 by F2 divided by dt, that is equal to delta HF divided by RT square. Here F1 that is viscosity of solution, F2 viscosity of pure solvent. Now the ratio of these two, F1 by F2, that is called activity of the solvent A1. So the equation, say equation number 2 becomes d ln A1 divided by dt, that is equal to delta HF divided by RT square. On changing dt from left hand side to right hand side, we get the equation d ln A1 is equal to delta HF divided by RT square into dt. On integrating the above equation, integral d ln A1 is equal to delta HF divided by R integral T0 to T dt by T square. Here T0, that is freezing point of pure solvent, and T freezing point of solution. So on integrating the above equation, left hand side becomes ln A1, that is equal to delta HF divided by R integral 1 by T square, that is minus 1 by T, and the limits lower limit T0, upper limit T. On applying the limits to the equation, ln A1 is equal to minus delta HF divided by R 1 by T minus 1 by T0. That is, minus sign is first taken out, and applying upper limit 1 by T minus lower limit 1 by T0. That is equal to minus delta HF divided by R, taking LCM T0 T, that is LCM is T0 T, and numerator is T0 minus T. That is minus delta HF divided by R delta TF divided by T0 square. Here delta TF, that is depression of freezing point, that is T0 minus T, and T0T becomes T0 square because the value of T is comparable with the T0, therefore that value T is replaced by T0, so the product T0 T becomes T0 square. Therefore the equation ln A1 is equal to minus delta HF divided by R delta TF divided by T0 square. Here the activity of solvent A1 that is calculated using this equation. So that is activity of solvent A1 that can be evaluated using this equation. Now, activity of solute A2, that is determined by using Gibbs-Duhem equation. Now, Gibbs-Duhem equation for system contain two components, that is N1 d mu1 plus N2 d mu2, that is equal to 0. That can be written as N1 d ln A1 plus N2 d ln A2, that is equal to 0. Because mu is related to activity by the equation mu is equal to mu 0 plus RT ln A. So, on applying for component 1, d mu 1, that is equal to d ln A1, that is d mu 0, that is equal to 0, and dividing RT term and both the terms in the equation. So, N1 d ln A1 plus N2 d ln A2, that is equal to 0. So, actually here d mu1 is equal to RT d ln A1, d mu2 is equal to RT d ln A2, and dividing by this equation by RT, it becomes N1 d ln A1 plus N2 d ln A2, that is equal to 0. That is another form of Gibbs-Duhem equation. From this equation, we can get the value for d ln A2, that is d ln A2 is equal to minus N1 by N2 and numerator d ln A1. That is, read this equation before. On substituting equation 3 in equation 4, substituting equation 3 in equation 4, we get d ln A2, that is equal to minus N1 by N2, and instead of d ln A1, we write this equation minus delta HF divided by R d delta TF divided by T0 square. On simplifying this equation, minus into minus, that is plus, that is equal to d ln A2 is equal to N1 by N2 delta HF divided by R d delta TF divided by T0 square. In the case of dilute solution, N1 is number of moles of solvent, that is given by N1 is equal to 1000 divided by M1, where M1 is the molecular weight of solvent, and N2 number of moles of solute, that is simply molality, that is M2 is molality. So, on substituting N1 as 1000 divided by M1 and N2 as M2, we get this equation d ln A2 is equal to 1000 divided by M1 in the place of N1, and in the place of N2, M2 is substituted. So, 1000 divided by M1 into M2, and the numerator values delta HF, d delta TF, and the denominator R T0 square. So, on simplifying this equation, that is delta HF divided by M1, that can be written as LF, small LF. Delta HF means molar latent heat of fusion per mole, that is latent heat of fusion per mole, but small LF, that is latent heat of fusion per gram. So, the equation 1000 small LF divided by M2 and divided by RT0 square, and the numerator T delta TF. Now, on simplifying this equation, now we get d ln A2 is equal to T delta TF divided by M2 into Kf, because Kf is equal to RT0 square divided by 1000 into LF. So, in the place of RT0 square divided by 1000 LF, 1000 into LF, that is substituted as Kf, that is molar depression constant of the solvent. So, in this equation, all are known except A2, that can be calculated. By knowing all other terms except A2, that can be calculated. That is the method to determine activity of solvent and activity of solute. Activity of solvent A1, activity of solute A2. This slide shows the questions frequently asked in the university examination. Now, what are the questions? One question: explain how will you determine fugacity of gases from equation of state. That is one question. Another question: write notes on fugacity. Another question: define the term fugacity, how is determined for gases. Another one is define activity. Another one is what is the standard state for activity of gas. And this is the one. Explain any one method to determine activity and activity coefficients. And another question, explain how the activity of solute is determined. Another question, define the term activity coefficient. How will you determine the activity coefficient of an electrolyte? And another question, elaborate the experimental determination of activity and activity coefficient of electrolytes. Another question, explain the term fugacity and activity. These are the some of the questions asked frequently in the university examination. With this, I want to conclude my lecture on topic fugacity and activity. I think this lecture is more useful for second MSc chemistry students of our university. I wish all the students all success. I wish to express my sincere thanks to all viewers. And also I expect the valuable comments from viewers, whether it is positive or negative, and your comments will be helpful for giving my lecture in a better way. Thank you one and all.